Hey guys, Pastor Ben here with another review and reflection. It's been almost 2 weeks since I posted a video. I've been on vacation with my family. We just got back over the weekend, and so I was not posting videos, but I have been reading during that whole time, and so I've actually got kind of a backlog of books now to share with you. And today, after my last video posting on Hans Boersma's book, Heavenly Participation, that was my longest review video yet. This might be my shortest review video yet, or it will certainly be on the shorter side. So I want to share just a few brief thoughts with you on this little book, Paddington Helps Out by Michael Bond. If you have tracked with my channel for a while, you may remember a while back I did a video review on the second book in the Paddington Bear series. This is the third book in that series. We read the first book before I was doing these review videos, so I don't have kind of my thoughts on all the different books. But just going back and looking at that review again, most of what I said there would apply here. If you're not familiar with these books, these are a series of books that were written in the mid-20th century. The first book came out in 1959. This one is written in 1960. And they're very much kind of just episodic stories about this bear called Paddington. And it's set place in kind of 1950s, 1960s London. And this bear is discovered at Paddington Station by this family called the Browns, kind of this middle-class London family. And they take him in, and he has all these wonderful adventures. All of the books, especially once you get past the first book, first book is introducing more of the characters and all of that. But once you get to the second and the third books, they were very similar, very episodic. Each chapter is basically a kind of self-contained story, and they all follow a similar plot. You know, it's kind of like the Amelia Bedelia books or something, right? Where, Paddington always gets himself into trouble and always causes a mess and some sort of catastrophe, but then it also always ends up kind of coming out well in the end. Paddington is just a quirky, fun character. Kids love him. He ends up kind of getting on everyone's good side in the long run, even though in the short run he'll often cause problems and catastrophes. But this book continues that. It gives you more stories of Paddington. Let me see, I think there are 7 chapters, if I remember right. Yeah, 7 chapters. Some wonderful little stories in here. I won't go through them all because, again, each is kind of self-contained. Each stands on its own. And if you're familiar with the character of Paddington, you'll know the kind of thing to expect. But I think what I like about these is that, particularly for younger kids, I would say, under 10 years old, probably the best age is kind of in that like 3 or 4 to 6 or 7. That is just a real sweet spot because these are digestible chapters. They're fun characters. There's funny things happening. A few of the stories need some explanation now since it's been so many years since they were written. For example, there's a story in here about the movie theater, and the movie theater experience that he's describing is so different from our movie theater experience that it took a little bit of explaining to my girls, and my girls have never been to a movie theater anyway, so there was that as well. But there's a few things that kind of need some translation. If you're an American writer, you're an American reader, because it's a British book, or even just generationally, this was written in the late 50s, early 60s, and if you're reading that today, there's things that have changed. But by and large, you're dealing with kind of memorable characters, simple stories, funny things that are happening, and they're just enjoyable. They're fun. It's not great literature. It's not, anything super in-depth, but they're well written, and they're fun for kids to read, and they're fun to read to kids. I wouldn't read these on my own, which is always, when I'm reading kids literature, I'm often I know I've hit on something good when it's something that my girls enjoy, and it's something that I would read just if I didn't have, whether I had kids or not. This doesn't strike that chord for me. I don't think I'd be reading Paddington Bear if I didn't have kids, personally. Whereas Narnia books or something, I would definitely be reading those, whether I had kids or not. So, I give it a solid, 3 or 4 out of 5 stars. It's not a 5-star kids literature book, but they're fun, they're good, and if you're looking for something to read with your kids or with your grandkids, I think the Paddington series is worth checking out, and this is a great book in that series. Paddington Helps Out by Michael Bond.